no matter what I do, I can never replicate the feelings of absolute desperation I used to have. You know? And it's the type of thing where it's like, I don't even necessarily understand why I want to feel like that again. And maybe I want to feel like that again because that's what feels normal to me. Maybe that's what, you know. But it's a thing where it's like, I've hit complete and utter rock bottom. And I don't want to hit rock bottom again. But I kind of miss how I used to think when I was at rock bottom. I missed having absolutely nothing to lose. I miss having no one. I miss, like, I miss the feeling where if I just wanted to up and die, I could. You know? I miss the feeling where it's like, my future was completely and utterly a blank canvas because I had absolutely no one at the time. You know? And I miss that. I miss the freedom of being a fuck up. You know? Because no matter what you do, when you're at complete and utter rock bottom, it cannot get worse. You know? You're either going to stay where the fuck you are, or you're going to end up doing something better with your life. You know? And I don't miss the excruciating pain that, like, just living used to be or whatever. But a part of me misses how different my life used to be. And I know how unhealthy it was. I know how unstable it was. I know that if I stayed living there any longer, I would be, like, I probably would have gone to the point of no return if I'd stayed there any longer, to be brutally honest with you. But I don't know how to live. I know how to survive. I don't know how to fucking live. You know? And I'm trying to, like, live and do this whole fucking people thing and all this fucking weird bullshit that I don't like, you know? But I don't know how to fucking do it. You know? There is only one person. Actually, no, there's two people in this world who make sense to me. First of all, myself and my best friend, you know. And there's a close second in there. Like, she does make a good bit of sense to me. And, like, I really do value her. And, like, you know, Jesus Christ, yeah, of course I do. Like, you know, I think that's just a given, you know. But, like, this whole thing of living, you know, I meant to find a job, and then I'm going to go into said job. There's an absolute housing crisis, you know, and it almost feels like, so I've been given a shit deck in life. I've made a better life for myself now or whatever, you know, but it's the type of thing where it's like, it's the future step, you know, it's the type of thing where it's like, if I don't do something that I consider successful in life, what was even the point of fighting this hard just to be alive? You know, like, what's the point of any of this if I take other people's advice and I go down the type of life that they want me to live? It just feels like this life I'm living right now, it kind of feels like I used to be an alcoholic or something like that. And then, like, people, you know, they've just started giving me, like, alcoholic-free beverages. And it's like, you know, and it's the type of thing where it's like, you kind of have the, like, you still have the feelings of the past and the nostalgia of it, like, oh, I'm having a drink of alcohol, but you're not actually feeling the effects of drinking fucking alcohol. It's kind of like this type of thing where it's like, it kind of feels like I kind of have the feelings and, like, the shell of what my life used to be or whatever, and of course I'll forever have the memories, but it's the type of thing where it's like, I know this is better for me, and I know this life is better for me, and I know, like, when I do move out in a couple of months, and I know when all this shit happens, I will be happy, you know, and I will, you know, but it's just getting over these bullshit couple of months, you know. It's the type of thing where it's like, don't wish your life away or whatever, like, you know what they say, but very few things in my life right now actually makes me happy, you know. It's the type of thing where it's like, I'm doing things because they're a goal towards the thing, the person I want to be, and that the goals towards, like, they're the actions I need to do to be the person I want to be. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I'm just, like, trying to get to the end of my prison sentence really, which is like fucking, you know, the education system or whatever. But it's, it just doesn't feel right, you know. It just, no matter what I do, and no matter if I try to forget the past, no matter if I fucking like face it straight on, if I just try to look at the future, I try to look at the present, basically whatever the fuck I do, I still don't feel right. Like, none of this feels right at all. Like, to be honest with you, I really even want to live in this country. You know, I do have fantasies or whatever about living in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. But, like, I know I won't actually end up doing that. You know, so it's the type of thing where it's like, how do I create an alternative path to my life without, like, you know, like, because it's the type of thing where it's like, listen, if I just get a typical job, if I just go down the life I'm meant to, you know I won't be happy. But it's like, what the fuck else do I do with my life? It just feels like I was born to be unhappy, you know, and it's like, I got a shitty deck, sure, you know, that's one thing, but it's like, I just want a happy ending, even with how fucking, like, cringy that sounds or whatever. Like, I want all the work I put into surviving and becoming the person I am today to actually mean something, you know? Because it's the type of thing where it's like, I don't believe in afterlives. I don't believe in any of this shit. I feel like when I die, I actually die. So it's the type of thing, I'm not looking forward to heaven. I'm not, you know, I'm not scared of a hell or whatever, and I don't think I'm going to be reincarnated or whatever the other beliefs are. So it's the type of thing, I have to make the absolute most of the life that I'm living right now. You know, this life, whatever the fuck I was the one chosen to go live it, but I'm here nonetheless, and I'm still fucking here. And you know what, that's a fucking accomplishment no one will ever understand. I probably do have PTSD, to be honest with you. I very obviously do have PTSD. And it's like the symptoms have lessened a lot recently because I am starting to heal or whatever. But it's the feelings of complete and utter fear and just weakness is what gets most, like, survivors of, you know, that's what gets most people. It's one thing what actually happened. It's the feelings of like, I know it's gonna happen again, and I know I'm stuck like this, and will it ever actually stop? You know, it's the feelings of just the pain, and no one's there to soothe you, and it's just like, you just gotta deal with yourself, and you're gonna get more and more pain, and, you know, fuck you, like, listen, you got a bad deck, this is what society is, you know. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I suppose I do have a very negative view on society as a whole, but, like, at the same time, there's, like, I know there is so many issues with it. A big fear of mine is, because, like, I know damn well I will end up having kids, you know, and I do plan on taking in foster kids or whatever, but it's the type of thing where it's like, I know how bad the world gets, and it's the type of thing where it's like, I want to completely protect them from it, but the thing is, I know I'm gonna die, you know, and I'm gonna have to give them the skills or whatever to realize when they're in a bad situation and realize how bad people can actually be, you know, but it's the type of thing where it's like, I know they're gonna feel pain, you know, and I know something bad might end up happening to them, but it's the type of thing where it's like, I think honestly one of my biggest fears in life is having a person I deeply care about, like, have something bad happen to them, just because I know, like, I will go fucking mental. That's the thing, because it feels like I know myself well enough to keep myself in check, but, like, what really fucks me altogether is, like, when someone I care about, like, the world starts treating them badly. You know, it's like the type of thing where it's like, one thing, oh, I'm feeling pain. I don't give a fuck, like, I'm used to that, you know. I don't actually hate people, you know. I know, like, I do have a very negative view of them, obviously, with everything I've said, but it's the type of thing where it's like, a lot of people, they're decent people who are misguided and do bad things. It's just because I've encountered actual fucking evil. That's the thing. And of course, that negatively affects my view on people as a whole. But it's a thing where it's like, just because I don't necessarily invite someone into, my fucking close proximity, fucking friendship thingy-majiggy that I have going on, doesn't mean I necessarily dislike them. I think some people are nice, but I wouldn't be friends with them. I think some people are good people. But it's the type of thing where it's like, when I find someone who I consider a good person, or just even an okayish person, but it's like, when we share like similar values on life, or they challenge me on my values in life, and you can actually hold a really good conversation with them, and they actually think about things, and they actually kind of see past what what our world has told us should matter. It's I think most people are shallow, but I can't necessarily blame them for that either, because the people in my age group, they, like, the only reason I think this deeply is because I came from such a big, like, different background than them. But most of them, they've had their parents taking care of them, and when they're crying, they have someone to fucking hold on to and be like, oh yeah, life's gonna be fucking okay, Jimmy. That type of thing. But, and like, when that happens, why would they start questioning the society they were brought into? Why would they start questioning the beliefs of their parents who've treated them good their whole lives? Why would they start thinking outside the box when the reality they live has treated them okay? Why would they start thinking like me when the reality they live, is treating them quite good, quite decent? There's no fucking point in it. I can't necessarily blame them either. And sometimes I wonder, would I be better if I had that blissful naivety about me? But it's the type of thing where it's like, I really like who I am as a person. So, like, I wouldn't want to be anyone else in this world. To be brutally honest with you, like, the amount of work it took for me to be this kind of stable, and this amount of emotional regulation, and just this amount of fucking character, the amount of work it took to get here, because oh my fucking god, me a couple of years ago, I was fucked up altogether. I didn't show it that openly, but if you knew me at that time, like, fuck me, I'm 17 now. Like, when I think back about how I used to be when I was around 12, I honestly just pity that fucking kid so much. Like, the things I would do to go back in time just to give that kid a fucking hug. It's the type of thing where it's like, how I was at that time, it was a complete and utter reflection of how I was treated my whole life, and that's why I was so unstable, and that's why I just had all those problems going on, and I only, around that time period when I was around 12ish, that was around the time period where I was just so completely and utterly isolated, and I only actually had one friend at the time. I still definitely do have PTSD, and like, I don't, the flashbacks, I haven't had one in like a month and a half, maybe 2 months, I say, but I'm getting better, sure, but it just all takes fucking time. That's the problem. Everything takes time, and then you're going to hit the end of your life, and then you're going to be out of time, and then you're going to be like, I should have spent my time better, But what I really want is just to make life worth living, As long as, like, honestly, as long as the people I care about are taken care of, that's what really matters, to be honest with you. I don't even really give a fuck about myself no more, Like, I think I'm great. I think I'm quite cool or whatever, But, like, I'm not suicidal, But, like, if I, speaking, I fell asleep right now and I just didn't wake up, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that either, But the thing is, I wouldn't have a problem with that if I knew the people that I love are taken care of, But, like, the thing is, I know, like, I know I have to like make sure my health is good, and I know I have to make sure all that shit is good, just just so I can ensure that they're okay, and that's kind of why I'm staying around. And I know that I know that's quite selfless or whatever. I generally have a huge level of confusion on what my personality even is and who the fuck I even am. To be honest with you, because for the longest time I was forced into kind of being like really, really fucking serious just for the sake of survival, and like that's the type of my like that's the type of part of myself that I kind of portray to ye. But then I also have the part of me that's like, actually kind of happy and joking and shit like that. I feel like that's who I was actually meant to be or whatever. But then it's also the type of thing where it's like, I think it's more both. I don't necessarily think I'm one or the other. Like, maybe if all this shit didn't happen, I would just be happy and, like, fucking trusting and fucking whatever, happy-go-lucky type shit. But it's also the type of thing where it's like, I wouldn't want to get rid of this serious side of me, because it's the type of thing where it's like, a lot of people have said to me, right, why don't you want to forget what happened? And like, oh, like, why are you so serious? Like, well, just be happy. That's not the, I know, or whatever. Like, it's like, oh yeah, some people only see me for this like fucking like constantly joking person. But the reality is, if I forget what happened to me, and if I throw away the serious side of me or whatever, it's completely and utterly disrespecting all the efforts and hard work I put in just to be me, And it's the type of thing where it's like, maybe it would be easier to function or whatever on a daily basis, but in the long term, I'm after throwing away all these years of my life I fucking lived, I'm after throwing away all the years that I spent learning all these lessons I've learned. I've thrown away all the years I've met people I genuinely care about in a long list of fucking disappointing cunts. In a long list of actual fucking like actual genuine evil, And it's the type of thing where it's like, till someone actually encounters the type of just complete and utter evilness and the type of despair that causes you, they will never understand. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I never want to forget how much effort and just energy and the amount of strength it took just to fucking live, And it's the type of thing where it's like, no matter how much I wanted to die, I didn't, The excruciating pain that I lived through on a daily basis, and everything in my body was just screaming to kill myself, and I didn't, And that's the type of thing I never want to forget. A thing that really kind of irritates me is when people think they know me. And it's the type of thing where it's like, listen, there's one or two people where it's like, you've come to the point in my life where like you're close enough to me where it's like, you do have a really, really good understanding of me. But it's the type of thing where it's like, listen, I am such a shitty fucking communicator, and I have so many trust issues and all this shit. And it's kind of like it's the arrogance of thinking you know me when you've only known me for like a year or two. And it's the type of thing where like so many people have been like, oh, Miss Baguette, like, oh, this serious side of you, that isn't you. That is, and it's all this shit where it's like, listen, like, I think there's so much more to people than they let on, I have met people where it's like they're kind of like boring, but like I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, they just kind of like don't have the depth to them, and they are boring. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people necessarily, but they don't like, they're boring, But that isn't necessarily a bad thing either. And it's the type of thing where it's like, it just takes so long to actually understand a person. And it takes just extra fucking long to get an understanding of me. Just because I operate differently, just because of how I fucking am and who I've became or whatever. And it's just the level of arrogance to kind of tell me to get rid of a part of my personality. That's some crazy shit. It's, I don't know. People are funny. I don't know. I talk about people like they're like animals in a zoo, which I think is a bit weird. And I talk about them like I'm not also a person, But I suppose that also does show that I was completely and utterly separated from society at some point. But hey, that just adds character, which I'm gonna get tattooed on me. So, but that, yeah. I'm actually. How sad is it that one of the few things I'm looking forward to in my next month or so is getting a tattoo? It is generally getting a tattoo, going to the gym. Nothing other than that makes me even semi-happy. And that is so sad. That is actually so sad. I have so little of a life. But hey, listen, at least I have something that makes me happy. Because I didn't have anything that made me happy for the longest time. So that's progress. Yeah. It's like being in a frog in boiling water and they slightly turn it down a bit. So it's it's got better. It's still shit, but it's better. It's it's no it used to be very, very shitty. Now it's just shitty. So, yeah. Generally. I honestly think I just turn into a different person when it hits 2 a.m. or whatever. But I think that's just because my mind starts absolutely fucking racing or whatever, and I don't necessarily know why that happens. And it might be because of anxiety or something like that, but I don't see the need to put on labels and shit like that, because honestly, I feel like if a psychologist had a proper conversation and they wanted to diagnose me with something, they could try to diagnose me with fucking everything. But, I obviously don't have every mental illness or whatever under the book. And I definitely don't suffer from everything. What I'm really trying to say is people are a lot more fluid or whatever than people give them credit for. We have most people have a lot more going on for them than what they let on. And I think a lot of people, they think they're closer to people than they actually fucking are. Because I feel listen, I'm not exactly the most fucking... Obviously, I'm a bit socially fucked up from everything I'm after saying, But from what I have observed, people don't have the deepest of conversations. That's what I have realised, just from my experiences with people anyway. And it must sound like I have a superiority complex or whatever, but it's the type of thing where it's I don't, because I'm obviously just better, And that's the type of thing people take me seriously when I say, Well, it's the type of thing where it's listen, I am better than some people, But, hey, there's people that are better than me. It's all it's like a hierarchy, I'm just on the better end, because I'm the best. Yeah. Either way, I'm gonna leave it here.